Hey everyone, this is the RHB. I'm back for my next video, which is the worst characters of the main series of Final Fantasy, and I don't ever include the MMORPG, so 11 and 14, I'll never include on my list, so don't worry about it. So the worst characters, not in any particular order, I've kind of got it narrowed down the way I think are the worst ones. Final Fantasy VI Gao, I don't understand what the reason for it is. He was just kind of there. I know he gives you the helmet for so you can breathe underwater, but he just doesn't add anything to the story. And you find out like his dad like abandoned him or whatever. You take him back again. His story was so, it just felt very incomplete, and he was a terrible fighter. I know he goes berserk, and you can use attacks from the enemies you fought. It's hard because there's no consistency with it. He's he's just an extra body for magic is basically what he is. But next on that list is Quina, whatever it is, that thing from Final Fantasy IX, a he, she, whatever it is, it's annoying. It just felt so out of place. It's like Steiner was enough comical relief for Final Fantasy IX. You did not need a character who just didn't add anything. I know he's got a backstory, but they needed to make it like a regular character. He can look different, but it just was, it irritates me, and I just can't stand it. Probably more I think about, that's probably the worst one. Next on that list is Rinoa from Final Fantasy. She didn't do anything to me. I know there's the theory out there that she's Ultimecia. I don't buy it. She's there. She throws herself at Squall. He doesn't reciprocate it. She seemed very whiny and clingy, and I just didn't like the character. She didn't do anything for me. And she's weak. I barely used her. You take away the scene where she's out in space, and she doesn't really add anything to that. Oh, I guess that, and she hires the seeds from Balamb Garden to steal that one train, but that's about it. Again, just a very forgettable female character, especially one that was supposed to be so important. Next on that list is Quietus from Final Fantasy VIII. She fails her leadership training. She has that, whatever that stupid weapon was, she stood there. She should have been cool, but she walked around like she was in a pantsuit all day. I just didn't like it. She was another one I just did not care for, so she ranks pretty low as well. And again, without her, the game goes on without her. The next one on that list from Final Fantasy 13 is Hope. What a whiny little baby. It's woe is me. Now he becomes more crucial in Final Fantasy 13 2 and Final Fantasy 13 Lightning Returns, but he looked so out of place. He looked like a little kid with all these adults fighting this battle. You got Snow, who is a big tough guy. You've got Lightning, who's a soldier. You've got Saz, who looks like he's like a mercenary, and then you've got Fang and Vanille. Vanille's a little weak, but she knew how to fight, and she's like 500 years old. So again, Hope felt out of place, and he was just too whiny for me. Again, I think his character got better as the series went along, but I tried not to take that into account here. The next on my list is the whole cast of Final Fantasy III. They are forgettable, all of them. Ignis, Luneth, Ark, I think Rafea, however you pronounce the name. None of them added anything to the story. They were just there. At least with Final Fantasy, with 2, like they had a connection to each other. And they had different personalities. They were all very bland. I exclude Final Fantasy 1 in the list because none of those characters have traits or personalities. But Final Fantasy 3, they tried to give it to them, and it just didn't work. You could have had me and 3 of my buddies being the characters, and it would have been the same story. Next on that list, this one might be the worst. I know he's the worst on a lot of people. One of the most hated ones is Edward from Final Fantasy IV. Hate the character. He strings his harp. Whoop-de-doo. He is a whiny little baby who is a prince of a kingdom, and there's a reason why Tella hated him, and why Tella tried to kick his butt. But it is what it is. Thank goodness Edward's not in there long, and his job, the bard that shows up in Final Fantasy V, hate it. Every time I see that bard, I don't even use the bard because I hate Edward so much. Next on my list, even though it's got the best cast of characters, Final Fantasy VI, I don't understand what Strago was there. He is a crazy, delusional old man. It's like he's a magical ripoff of Sid from Final Fantasy IV. He tries to be all cool and big and bad, but he's whiny. He gets manipulated and walking around the Tower of Fanatics with all those Kefka followers. Strago was just I could have done without Strago, but it is what it is. Next on the list, Cait Sith from Final Fantasy VII. Like, Queen up from Final Fantasy IX. What is the purpose? I understand that it's Reeve operating it, but it's like, okay, is the cat a doll too? I just don't get all of it, and it looks so out of place with such a serious theme. It's an overweight, obese Moogle with a little cat on its back. I don't understand the purpose of it. And I didn't like the character. It didn't add too much. It got a little bit better, especially after like you realize that it's Reeve and he's really spying on you. And it's got some important parts, but it's just a bad character. It's a weak fighter. The dice limit break is like the coolest thing, and I don't even use it that much to use the dice. Oh, and the last one on my list for worst characters is Ashe from Final Fantasy XII. I cannot stand her. She's got way too much screen time. She has, woe is me. My father was killed. I understand that. It's sad, but she's at odds with everybody. She's upset at the Marquis. She's upset with Bosch. She just doesn't seem like she's ever happy with anything. She's very indecisive. I just wish, if she was supposed to be the ruler and the leader of Dalmasco, then why isn't she doing more? Why is she so indecisive? She'd be like, no, we're gonna do this and this and this. Well, and she follows around a lot. If she's supposed to be a leader, she should be leading, not following. So those are my worst characters for Final Fantasy. The next list I will do will be the biggest flops of the Final Fantasy series. Until next time.